Hi everybody, and thanks for joining me today. So yeah, we passed the 5.5% mark yesterday. I was saying that was my monthly goal, so we're past that. Gonna finish up the peacock's head today, I think. We've just got his beak left, really. Yeah, made a lot of progress this month, so very happy with that. Yeah, so unfortunately we are still dealing with the wildfire smoke, so again, my voice sounds rough. That's why. I had to put eye drops in already this morning, so yeah. Unfortunately, that doesn't bode well. Yeah, that's one problem with living out on the prairies. There's no mountains to block the smoke, so yeah, when there's fires, it just travels all over the place. Yeah, and it's supposed to be hot and possibly thunderstorms, so hopefully there's no lightning strikes to start up more fires, because yeah, they're already got their hands full dealing with what they've got. Hopefully it just rains and helps keep things under control, or even put them out entirely. That'd be awesome. 38:45. So yeah, back in the confetti slog here. I have such a love-hate relationship with confetti. Stitching it can be very tedious, but the end result is worth it. Yeah, all the detail. And surrounding the peacock is still quite a bit of sky that doesn't have much detail, and it's like 3 or 4 colors, so yeah, that goes by really quick. Yeah, hard to believe. It's at the end of the month already. Be time to take this off the frame and show it to you all. So I'm predicting to get the first pass done by this summer. Midsummer is my prediction. We'll see. Yeah, although I'm doing 70 rows tall on this pass and probably the next pass, because I did the math and the rest of them can all be 60 and work out properly that way. So yeah, if I have to do passes that have more rows, I like to do them at the top. When there's less fabric at the top, I find it easier to fit it in. Oh, where am I? Oh, I don't have anything parked there. I don't know why I marked it. Let's see. Did I accidentally park it over here? I think is what I did. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't count. Let's double check that color there. Yeah. Yeah, this is the right color. Yeah, I don't know why I parked that incorrectly, but that's okay. It is fixable. Well, I parked it incorrectly because I do make mistakes sometimes. Fortunately, one like that doesn't involve actually ripping out stitches, so easy to fix. Yeah, I almost don't have any two colors or two stitches next to each other that are the same color here. So it is going to be a very slow but steady for this morning. Hopefully you find it interesting. Yeah, one of the problems with the forest fires in the BC Alberta area is we got a mountain pine beetle infestation that they can't get under control. It's been going on for decades now. And yeah, they're an invasive species. And so, yeah, they are just wreaking havoc on the local forests. They don't really have any predators, so they just eat the heck out of the trees and dry them out. So when there's a fire, yeah, it spreads very easily because it's basically got kindling everywhere. Because yeah, the trees are dried out and dead, and yeah, so every time we drive to BC to visit family, there's forests, just acres of trees that have turned red from being chewed up from the inside out, basically. Okay, so this one, let's take a look here. Well, that is so short. I think I'm going to do a different thread, and I'm just going to do that one for that one stitch there. Yeah. Yeah, if it was a longer thread, I would have tried to carry it over, but not much point. Yeah, they can't really keep up with it, unfortunately, so yeah, there's regulations. You can't bring firewood with bark on it because that's where the beetles like to hide, is under the bark, and then yeah, they escape and then go start destroying the local forests. So yeah. Yeah, a lot of things are invasive species that I never knew about. Like I found out when I was in high school that dandelions were not native to the area. Someone brought them in to fight soil erosion. Yeah. Or they said the kudzu vines that you find a lot in the southern US, again, was not native. That's why it took over everything. Yeah. Unfortunately, chokes out all the local stuff. Steals all the sunlight, yeah. Yeah, I read they brought it over during a World's Fair. Yeah. Again, thinking it was gonna do good, and instead it just took over. Another random green. Let's square here. Or raccoons are brought over from North America into Europe, which is why, again, the population is out of control over there. It was funny, my husband, his first language is Hungarian, so they were testing his English when they came over to Canada. He was 5 or 6, and they had pictures of animals, and he had to name them, and when they got to the raccoon, he called it a washing bear, because that's what they call it in Hungarian, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cute. Or he said when they came over here, one of the first video games he played was a Pac-Man game. And then after, he said later, "Mom, I want to play the biting toy again." Because of course, right, the Pac-Man is biting the stuff, so. Yeah, one of his coworkers actually had a classic Ms. Pac-Man arcade game, and my husband got it to work, so. Yeah, he had to go online and sort of find a circuit board that he could make work with the circuitry there, and yeah. And now anyone in town who has one now wants him to fix theirs too. Yeah, I'm guessing if you could get one of those classic games working, they might be worth a fair bit of money. They're like collector's items now. Yeah. Oh, silly me. I'm grabbing a new piece of thread and there was one already parked there. Not paying attention. Oh dear. I've done that a few times. Gone to all the trouble of getting my needle threaded and everything and then going, oh, you did not need to add another thread. It was already there. And it was even marked that it was there. It wasn't like I parked one there and forgot to mark it. Just not paying attention. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, I remember I had a coworker who was in a battle with local raccoons because they put fresh sod down. And the raccoons would come and pull up the grass trying to see if there was food underneath it, so the grass wouldn't take root, because every night they were coming and ripping it back up again. So yeah, he would end up sitting on his back porch trying to chase them off with a hose. Ooh. Yeah, they're mischievous little creatures. My mother-in-law had a koi pond, and she finally had to stop keeping fish in it because the raccoons would eat them. And they even put like a grate over top of it, a latching grate, and the raccoons still managed to figure out how to undo it. And they would even wait until the fish had grown big and fat before they ate it. Like if it was just put in, it was a little one, they would leave it alone because it wasn't enough of a meal, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, they're intelligent little creatures, aren't they? Yeah, my husband said he was in the military, and he said on base, you know, they had signs in there that you had to make sure that you kept the vehicles locked even when they were, you know, in the motor pool, not because they were worried that people would steal them, but because otherwise the raccoons would get in and completely trash them, because they knew how to grab onto the handle and pull it down to open it, and then they would, yeah, come inside and chew up the seats and rip down your rear view mirrors and stuff, and just, yeah, generally make a big mess of them. So yeah, because they'd be in there looking for food and stuff. Where's my scissors? There we go. Yeah, I was complaining about all the confetti, but that eye looks really good, so glad I did it. Okay, slowly start to thin out this sea of part threads here. Oh, we should pass 17,000 stitches completed today. Yeah, we're at 16,961. So if I remember, this one's, yeah, not very long. Yeah, that one's longer. Okay. Seven oh four. This is another almost fluorescent color here. Very, yeah, almost neon green. Those ends were really fuzzy, but managed to thread it without having to trim it. So yeah, again, as this is a really bright color, I'm gonna draw that along the back rather than pin stitching it so the ends don't pop through. It takes more time to take out my envelope and get the thread than to actually do the stitch. It's 30-47. Goodness, I'm running out of squares to pin stitch in. Yeah, there has been just so much confetti. I could use the horizontal threads, but I don't know. For some reason, my thread doesn't like to disappear into it when I use those. I don't know why. I mean, I don't really do it differently, but yeah, so I generally just use the vertical threads. They seem to work better for me. I have no idea why. I mean, it really shouldn't matter as long as the color I'm stitching over is dark enough to cover it, but I do prefer when it really disappears into the fabric, so that's why I do it that way. Oh my gosh. Okay, I think I can get a few stitches from this thread, so I'm going to just sort of split up this block of color between this thread and the other one that's parked up there. put all this confetti, but then I got a huge patch of ecru there, that number 2 symbol. So that should go by pretty quick. Oh, I almost put that on the wrong side there of that. Good thing I double checked with the grid line. Yeah, or I would have got it wrong. That's one thing with the loop starts from the front, they are harder to pull out. These 2 symbols here, they almost look like a pair of cartoon eyes when the person gets hypnotized or something. Oops, park that there. There, not. I tapped too many times and so it filled it in instead of just parking it. Yeah, because if you double tap on stitches that are highlighted, it will finish, mark them as finished. I have to double tap on the one I want to park it in without highlighting it first, or it won't work. Okay. Yeah, and you have to set those up in your settings menu, but it's nice. Saves some time because I don't have to, otherwise you would have to select the stitch, then hit the war, and then decide where to park it. So yeah, the double tap makes it more efficient, which is nice. Okay. Oh man, only 60 stitches done. Yeah. If it wasn't high confetti, I'd be at 100 at least by now, usually. Yeah, that's why I say I do an average about 450 a day, I would say, something like that. Because, yeah, it really depends on whether you're doing detail work or background. That's big blocks. I could sometimes get 700 or 800. And yeah, when it's a confetti slog, sometimes it's only a couple hundred the whole day. Okay, 9:30. Let me see. Oh, there it is. Okay. His beak kind of extends across almost 3 diagonals here, so yeah, like I say, I'm not strict, I'm just following the colors. See where they take me. Yeah, so this project has white in it, which is charted as 1 by Heaven and Earth Designs, because O1 is a different color. It's a light gray. It's called white tin. So on anything that has 1 on it, I changed it in Pattern Keeper to actually say white so that I won't mix them up, because yeah, I did that my first start of this pattern. I did a whole bunch of the corner in the O1 rather than the 1, and yeah, it was wrong. And I was thinking it looked a little dark, but I was also thinking I could trust the pattern. Well, I could if I read it correctly, which I did not. So that's on me. What's really irritating is I knew people were having that issue and I still did it myself. Like, boy. And yeah, like I said, didn't discover it till I got like 2 pages in. 10,000 stitches. Ugh, what a mess. Although I won't complain as much. There was someone who said she didn't find that out till she was like 60 pages into like a 70-page, 72-page or something pattern. It's like, okay, yeah, you win. That is much worse. Yeah, she said at that point she just restarted it because trying to go through and search for that many stitches of that color through your whole project, yeah, that takes a lot of dedication. Makes a difference though. I saw one in the group recently where someone said they used the wrong color around a candle flame and it was a couple hundred stitches, and they finally went back and fixed it, and it was amazing how much of a difference just the one color made. It went from looking dim to just looking like the whole area was lit up, even though it was, you know, only part of it. It was just that color helped set off the other colors, and yeah. It can really make a difference. Because it wasn't like the color she used was vastly wrong. It was like also a kind of yellow color, but it was a darker, more muted yellow, and yeah, it really made a difference. 37.47. Yeah, like I said, it's just amazing how even just a couple hundred stitches of a different color just, yeah, made such a huge difference to what the finished piece looked like. Okay, I'm gonna end up with a couple threads here, I think. Unless I'm willing to do stuff out of order, we'll see. Sometimes I do that when it's just more work to avoid it, but we'll see. I'll try to avoid it when I can. Yeah, this color kind of outlines his beak there. Yeah, I find when I do the cross-country stitching, I make way more mistakes, even with the grid, yeah. And I do like how neat my stitches look when I don't close anything in. I'm going to do that one as well so that I can do those arrow stitches below it without closing that square in. need, yeah, more than one thread of this color too. Ooh, pardon me. Ugh. Yeah, the sky looks tan color today with all that wildfire smoke. Yeah, I feel bad for anybody who's got to work outside. Breathing that in's not good for you. Yeah, holy moly, look at all these parked threads. It is getting busy in this section. So when you have a ton of parked threads, does it become a traffic jam? But yeah, I've seen some where people do parking on max color, and holy cow, it's like just a solid strip of threads. You can't see any gaps in it. Looks kind of cool though, like the pictures melting into where the threads are, kind of. Yeah, I remember the first time I saw somebody parking and thought, yeah, it looked like the picture was melting. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I think I parked something. Yeah, the one above it is 3 from the grid line, when it should be 2 in the second stitch from the grid line, not the third. That's why I say park. I try to park off my grid lines and not off other parked stitches, because yeah, if I do one wrong, then it can become kind of a chain reaction where I do a whole bunch others wrong based on that one, and then yeah, it can be a bit of a mess to undo my mistake. So okay, one less thread, because this one we can tie off after these 2 stitches. But sometimes it's easy. For every thread I finish, I have to start 2 more, so needle just fell right off. Okay, 5, 2, 4. His beak kind of extends a fair ways out to the right there. Okay. Oh, look at that, 5.55%. And yeah, we're past 17,000 now. Oh, that would work better if I tried to put the thread through the eye of the needle. Oh dear. Okay. So yeah, you could see that's past his beak there and starting to get back into the sky background behind him. Yeah, sometimes when following the colors and not sticking strictly to the diagonal, I can end up working across quite a wide area. It's just sort of how it works out. Yeah, when the work gets kind of spread out across a wider area, I can end up with quite a few live needles, so yeah. But so far, so good. Nothing's tangled yet, so Yeah, so I think sort of this is where I'm going to cut it off right there. Leave that background for later. I kind of have to do this one because of the way it fits around the other colors here, so. All right, we finally passed 100 done in this session. Yeah, these two blues here are very similar. When you're up close, it's kind of hard to tell. Or even from far away, I suppose, but gives it that subtle shading, I guess. More detail there. I said no tangling, but maybe I jinxed myself. Well, we are good. Okay, pretty soon it'll be time to head over to the left again. Try and grab just the one thread there. Yeah, so I'm probably going to cut it off right about here, where that that diagonal is. Got to cut it off somewhere. So that's what I'll probably do. I think this is kind of where I'm gonna make my break, and then gotta fill in a bunch of stuff from the left there. Yeah, so sometimes I work more along the edge of the diagonal, and then sometimes it ends up going more rows. Depends on the colors and all that. Oh, I might go a little bit. Let's see. Leave those threaded for now in case I decide to do them. I'm surprised that one stayed on. That's very short. Usually I don't bother leaving it threaded because, yeah, it tends to just fall right off. Yeah, this is the one I said I'm probably going to have 2 threads for this color just because of the shape of it. Okay. Okay, since that unthreaded itself, I think, yeah, I'm gonna make my break right here. So part of his beak won't be quite done. I'll get it on the next diagonal. But yeah. Okay, so I didn't do that one, so let's make sure we don't accidentally fill it in as being completed when it's not. Confuse myself later. Oh dear. Throwing needles around. Should be able to get that last stitch out of that thread, so. All right, 939. Gosh, there. I was having trouble pulling one strand out. Start from this side just because of the shape of this. Means I won't have to carry it across the back as far. Not that it makes a huge difference as it's only a few stitches, but always trying to be get the most use out of my thread that I can. So these 3. Those 3 and 1 more. Actually, most of his neck is done now, at least for this area here. The rest of it will be in the next pass, which I won't get to for a few months, I should think. fact, these colors here that were used in his head I may pack away for a while. Open up spots on my tray. We'll see. See, I gotta do a bunch of sky and then sort of the garden wall and then all those purple flowers on it. And then when I start the next pass, I also have a bunch of, yeah, there's a bunch of the water, the lake to do. I don't know, was it lake or ocean? I'm not sure, but yeah, before I actually get into stitching on the peacock again. Yeah, this artist has few peacock ones. There's I think one called Two Dancing Peacocks, and they're a bit darker, if I recall correctly. A little bit more green on them, but yeah, it was a toss-up because that one was gorgeous too. There's a bunch of ecru down here, so I have to be very careful not to pin stitch down there with these dark colors because that would show through. Don't want that. Oh dear. Ah, there we go. Usually I can get things in the right place with my left hand as long as I'm working from the top, but yeah. Sometimes just will not cooperate because yeah, I'm right-handed. Yeah, my husband is what they call cross-dominant. So he does some things with his right hand and some things with his left hand. And apparently it's more common if you're dyslexic, which he has, I'm pretty sure. Like, he was never diagnosed, but I did notice he flips his numbers and letters around sometimes. Yeah, and no one caught it. I was surprised. I said, I think it's probably because English wasn't his first language, so they thought his difficulties with reading was because of that. Yeah, or there was someone else I knew who had a similar problem. They made him wear glasses because they were convinced that's why he had trouble reading. And he tried to explain. He said, no, I can see the letters. They get mixed up. Yeah. Yeah, interestingly enough, someone created a font called Open Dyslexia that, pardon me, the shape of the letters makes them look almost like they said they're weighted down on the bottom and makes it easier to read. Apparently it was developed by someone who actually has dyslexia, and yeah, you can download it for a lot of like your computer browsers or like on your e-reader and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Or there was one I saw that said was supposed to be for helping people with ADHD read, that it has slightly darker places, so what they called it like anchor points, so that your eyes don't jump over the words. They kind of stick to them, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's really cool, the stuff people come up with to make things more accessible is really neat. I like seeing that. These things being developed, yeah. I remember watching a movie where the kid had dyslexia, but it was set in like, oh geez, the 1930s or something, but before people understood what it was. And his neighbor was blind, and she taught him to read with Braille, and he had no trouble reading it because he said that the letters didn't get mixed up in his head if he was, you know, touching them with his hand rather than trying to look at the whole word at once. Or I would often do when I was proofreading something, if it was on my computer, I would actually make my computer read it to me, because yeah, if you missed a word or something, you can catch it from hearing it sometimes more easily than from reading it, because if you're reading it, you expect the word to be there, like an or a the or something, and you may not notice that it's missing. So yeah, it was kind of cool. Although it was funny because my computer couldn't always pronounce words correctly, so some of them sounded quite funny. And there was one, it was unappetizing, and for some reason the computer pronounced it as Upidizig, which like makes zero sense. And I remember I kind of stopped, paused it, and was like, what the heck did I write? You know, that it said that. And yeah. Ooh. And of course, yeah, sometimes the pronunciation's off, like it will say present instead of present, because it's, you know, the same word, so the computer doesn't know which one it is in the context of the sentence. But so it's not perfect, but it does help. Yeah. Yeah, Microsoft Word has that feature, and also Adobe Acrobat Reader as well has where it can read it to you. So sometimes, because Microsoft Word would only be able to do maybe a page at a time, but if you converted it, saved it as a PDF and opened it in Adobe, it could read the whole thing until you told it to stop. It would just start reading from where you started it, and yeah, it wouldn't stop till you paused it. So that was more useful for when you were sort of doing your final edits on your last draft and you just wanted to hear the whole thing to catch any last bit that was missing. So yeah. Yeah, and you could actually choose a voice with a British accent or an American accent, depending on what you prefer to hear. So that was cool. Okay. Oh yeah, I have one that goes quite a ways. 37, 65. Yeah, follows the curve of this peacock's neck. Let's see if it goes any further down. No, just along his sort of his throat there. How it manages to tie a knot like that. Ugh. It's very small ones, so that's fine. And luckily it's going to end up on the back without my having to make any weird moves with it. Well, we had a ton of needles threaded at the beginning, but we've since thinned them out. I think a couple of these on here aren't even threaded anymore yet. That one is, yep, I was wrong. That one is not though. So I've only got 2 left threaded at this point, so yeah. And without tangling too badly either. darn it. Pulled too hard and pulled the thread right out of my needle. I hate when I do that. Especially when it's on the back side, because that's a little more awkward to rethread. Okay, where was I? Oh, cross that as I go when I didn't need to. Oh well. It's all good. Just enough. Yeah, let's stitch to 200. So, yeah, even with all that confetti, still managed to get a good number done. So that makes me happy. So, 198. To add a new color for that one. $99. Goodness, if I could get this to cooperate. I think I can get the last 2 stitches out of here, so. And that is an even 200. Sweet. Yeah, this beak is pretty much done. There's a teeny little bit left on the end, but other than that, yeah, his head is pretty much finished. So yeah, as usual, thanks for joining me today, and hope to see you here again another time. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.